Have you ever at any point in time lost weight 10, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever the case may be, and you realize that you were softer, you were flabbier, you felt weaker, less energetic? Like, if you've experienced this before, that means that you probably lost weight and got fatter. This is one of the worst scenarios to put yourself in because it makes it harder and harder and harder for you to lose body fat over the long term. So you'll lose a substantial amount of weight initially, and your metabolism will throttle, and it makes it harder and harder and harder to get past that set point every time you do something like this. So the goal in this episode is to help you avoid losing weight and getting fatter. So actually going to talk about how this actually works because you're probably saying to yourself like, well, if I lost weight, how am I fatter? But if you lose just because you lose weight does not mean that you lost body fat, or it does not mean that all of the weight you lost was body fat. And if you end up losing more lean muscle than you lose body fat, you technically got fatter. So let's use this example. Let's say that you are a 100-pound person, and you have 10 pounds of body fat on your body. That makes you 10% body fat, which would look, relatively lean. That would be relatively healthy if you're a man, maybe a little bit higher if you're a woman, but somewhere in that range. We're just using, round numbers. So let's take that same person that's 100 pounds, but let's say that they lose 50 pounds. They lose 50 pounds, but they still are 10% body fat. So they're 50 pounds lighter on a scale than they were before, but their body fat didn't move. So now that person goes from being up somebody at 10% body fat to being somebody at 20% body fat. And this is a huge, huge difference. The difference between how you would look at 10% body fat, which is typically like the leanest that most men can be and still be healthy. Look at that. That's not going to look nearly the same. It's not going to feel nearly the same. 20% body fat is borderline obesity for men. So obviously for women, you can take that and say 20%. We'll use a 20% or 30% mark for that. But that's what we're dealing with. So just because you lose weight does not mean that you're getting leaner. It does not mean that you're getting healthier. It does not mean that you're automatically going to tone up. The methodologies in which you use to go about losing weight make all the difference in the world. So we're going to dive into that. But first, real quick, every single Friday, we send over a 100% free guide to help you drop body fat, build lean muscle, and get healthier than you've ever been. And if you want this Friday's guide, which happens to be the 3 biggest movements for sculpting and defining your core, defining your midsection, defining your abs, getting that area of your body toned and tight. If you want that guide, all you got to do is click the link in the description of this podcast or YouTube video, or just head to hardenathletics.com/the Harden letters and get on the list. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Not only this guide do we have coming out, but if you're watching this later on, you can obviously go look at that guide in the replay, or you can go ahead and still sign up today because the next upcoming Friday, you're going to have another guide right there in your inbox. So let's get to it. First off, one of the biggest reasons that people lose weight and get fatter is because they diet without hitting protein targets. See, protein is the building block of lean muscle. And a lot of times, the first thing that people do when they diet is they just take the things that they're eating now and eat less of it. So chances are your diet was already probably low on protein. Typically, you're not going to gain a lot of weight. You're not going to gain weight if you're eating a high protein diet. So that means that because you gain weight, you probably were eating a carb heavy, fat heavy diet, and probably skimping out on protein anyway. And then the first thing that we do when we try to diet is we eliminate any little source of protein that we have. So maybe if you were eating, cheeseburgers, Five Guys, maybe if you're eating fried chicken, maybe if you were eating eggs, things like that, all of a sudden we take these things out of our diet, and the fried chicken and the burgers, maybe it wasn't great, but that was about the only protein that we were getting throughout the day. And we replaced that with salads and these bare bones protein bars, and a bunch of vegetables and all this stuff. We replace it with what we think is healthy, but as a result, we're getting even less protein than we were before. And that's going to strip your body, or basically not supply and fuel your body with the fuel that it needs to actually build muscle. Protein is the building block of muscle cells, skin cells, hair, nails, everything, bone. Like, it impacts so much, and we lose out on a lot of this when we start skimping out on our meals, when we start hardly eating any food, and we start cutting out essential nutrients like protein. It makes it very, very difficult to build up lean muscle. And if you're losing weight, you're doing whatever you're doing and you're losing weight consistently, and your body's not able to maintain its muscle, it's just going to strip it off. See, muscle is extremely active, muscle is extremely taxing. So if there's not a lot of nutrients to go around in the body, the first thing the body is going to do is say, hey, we got to get rid of this lean muscle. Got to get rid of this lean muscle tissue. It's costing us too much. It costs us too much energy. It's taking up too much energy. We got to get rid of this lean muscle, and it's going to strip that lean muscle down, pare that lean muscle down, and that's how you end up in a position where you lost 20 pounds on the scale, but 15 of it was lean muscle, 3 of it was water, 2 pounds of it was body fat. So you look up, you're 20 pounds down, but you look almost exactly the same. You feel a little bit worse. You feel a little bit weaker. That's how we get in this situation, because all of our muscle was pared down because it wasn't being properly fueled. So if that's you, I definitely want you to start focusing on getting a bit more protein and like making sure that, first off, every meal that you have, you want to make sure that it is protein heavy. I would say covering about 30 to 50% of your plate should be a lean, high quality protein source: salmon, chicken, turkey, fish, steak, things like that. Should be covering half your plate. Get in a protein shake, maybe once or twice a day, to kind of bridge the gap a bit. But the best thing that you can do in your fat loss journey is get in adequate protein. A good rule of thumb is to take where you are now, your weight, and then get your goal weight. What weight do you want? So if let's say that you're 215 pounds, and you want to eventually get to about, say, 185. So you'll take that number, 185, and that's how many grams of protein that you want to aim for. You want to feed and fuel the version of yourself that you're trying to get to. So that's why you choose that number. Don't necessarily choose the number that you are now, because if you're 215, you're going to be feeding and fueling a body that you want to tone up and trim down a bit in. So find your goal weight, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of goal weight, and you should be really, really good in terms of losing weight consistently without stripping off muscle. And then number 2, one of the biggest mistakes made is going to be lack of strength work. See, muscle, even though protein is extremely important, protein is big for building muscle, your body still needs a signal to start the process. And what the best signal for building muscle is strength training. That's lifting weights, running, jumping, sprinting, things like that, playing sports. Like, your body needs an opportunity. It needs a signal. It needs something that says, hey, I tried to do X, Y, Z, and I was kind of close to failing at it, or it took a lot out of me. So I need to build up some more muscle so that the next time I go and do this, it's a little bit easier. That's what the signal is. When you strength train, especially, by far the best way to put on muscle is to strength train. And a lot of people miss out and mess up on this. A lot of people jump straight into cardio. Oh, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to go running. I'm going to go walking. I'm going to do the elliptical. I'm going to do the Stairmaster. I'm going to do like all these different methods of cardio. Cardio sends no signals to the body to build lean muscle. As a matter of fact, cardio sends the opposite signal. Cardio sends the signal to pare down lean muscle, because the longer and the more intense your cardio is, the more your body will adapt to that type of exercise. And I just want you to look at some of the best endurance athletes in the world, whether you're looking at, the Olympics, you're looking at high school, college, whatever. Like, there's a common theme. All of these people are extremely, extremely, extremely skinny. They have almost no muscle on their body because the sport does not require it. Having a lot of endurance, a lot of muscular endurance, does not require the muscle to also be in big quantities. So they're extremely, extremely thin. So when somebody that's overweight takes this same methodology, what's going to happen is you'll get smaller, but you don't get thin. You'll get smaller because all your lean muscle is gone, but you're probably even bigger from a body fat percentage than you were to begin with, because you pared all your lean muscle down. So strength training is going to be the name of the game. You want your workouts and your training to be structured around lifting weights, getting strong. Like, the best thing that you can do for your body is to get strong, to get mobile, to get active in terms of getting in the weight room. This is going to be the best way to give the body the signal to build muscle, and then getting in adequate protein actually helps facilitate what signal that you try to throw out. And then last but not least is just going to be searching for rapid weight loss. And this is why I have a huge problem. I'll have people message me all like clockwork, probably once a week. I'll have one or two messages, and somebody's like, hey, got a wedding in 3 weeks. I'm trying to lose 50 pounds. How can I do it? Hey, I got PT for military in 6 weeks. Need to lose 30 pounds. How do I do it? And this mindset right here makes it so much harder for you to stay healthy long term. And the reason it makes it so difficult is because you'll go through and you'll try to lose as much weight as you possibly can in those 3 weeks or those 6 weeks or whatever it is, and you pare down all your muscle. So what's going to happen is you're going to get to the end of that 3 weeks or that 6 weeks, and your energy is going to be terrible. Your metabolism is going to be crap. It's going to be super easy for you to gain all the weight back. And guess what? You're not going to gain the muscle back that you lost. You're gaining back the body fat. You're gaining back the body fat that you lost, not the lean muscle by any stretch. And this is why trying to rapidly lose weight is a terrible, terrible way to go. And pretty much everybody follows this strategy, which is why everybody always needs to lose weight. If you're listening to this and you've been on a weight loss journey for 10 years, or if you've been on a weight loss journey 7, 8, 9, 12, 17 different times in your life, you probably do things like this. You probably eat super, super skimpy portions of food. You probably do only cardio, running, elliptical, Stairmaster, things like that. You probably skimp out on your protein, go vegan, vegetarian, stuff like that. And it ends up being a waste. It ends up being something that you worked your tail off, and then you get to the end of it and you don't really feel good. You don't really look good. And you're just not satisfied with where you are. And then you get upset, or it's so unsustainable that you just go back to slowly reintroducing certain foods in your diet that kind of messed you up in the first place. You stop doing cardio a little bit. You do a little bit less, and a little bit less, and a little bit less. And then before you know it, you're right back to couch potato. You're right back to not moving. You're right back to not eating the things that you're supposed to eat. Like it's a cyclical thing when you lose weight this way. So we want to lose weight at a rate of about 1 to 2, maybe 3 at most pounds of body fat per week. So 1 to 3 pounds of body fat per week is what you're aiming for. If you're trying to lose 10, 15 pounds a week, that's proof right there that you will not sustain it. I don't care what you do. If you lose 10 to 15 pounds of body fat a week, you're not going to sustain it. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. It's not going to happen. The body just will, it will quickly adapt, because that is such an extreme change. Your body's going to scramble to adapt. And the first thing it's going to do is throttle your metabolism. And the best way to throttle metabolism is to pare down lean muscle, which is how you end up losing 30 pounds on the scale, but going up in your body fat percentage. I don't think anybody wants that situation. Nobody wants that scenario. So get your protein in, lift weights consistently, and be patient. Stop trying to completely transform your body in 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. It probably has taken you 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, of poor eating habits, poor training habits, like all these different things. And maybe you've tried here and you've tried there. Maybe you even got in good shape at one time and you fell off track, and now you're just kind of scrambling to get it back. Like, no, be patient. Be patient. Do things that you can stick with for the long term. See, our goal is to get you in the best shape of your life, is to get you healthier than ever, eating the most amount of food that you can and doing the least amount of workouts required. That's the goal. And when you just try to lose weight fast, when you try to lose as much weight as you possibly can, that's flipped. What you do is you end up eating the least amount of food that you can possibly eat and doing the most amount of workouts that you can possibly do. That is not a sustainable approach or a sustainable strategy by any stretch of the imagination. So lift your weights, eat your protein, and be patient. 1 to 3 pounds of body fat per week. That is a good, great, amazing, healthy pace of fat losses. What every single one of our clients is aiming for. 1 to 3 pounds of body fat lost consistently every single week is going to be the absolute best way to get you to where you need to be. So that's it. That's all. First off, or to finish off with, like I said earlier at the top, make sure that you go grab the free guide to help you hit your goals. Every Friday, we're sending it out to you. Just go to hardenathletics.com/the heart and letters, or just click the link in the description of the YouTube video or the podcast, and you can get it there as well. So hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of this conversation. Please feel free to hit me up on whatever social platform you follow me on. Comment on YouTube if you're listening on YouTube, and let me know how you feel about this. Let me know if this is something that you've dealt with yourself, because we want to make sure that you get the tools and the frameworks that you need to never have to be on a weight loss journey again. You shouldn't have to do this more than once. You should not have to do this more than once. You should get your body to a place, you should get your habits to a place where you're able to maintain a healthy body fat percentage, a healthy amount of lean muscle, a healthy strength training regimen, a healthy cardio regimen, healthy nutrition regimen. Like, you should be able to transform your habits enough to where you don't have to go through this again. And that's the goal with this podcast. That's the goal with my newsletter. That's the goal with the free content that we post out every single day. And then ultimately the goal for all of the clients that we work with one-on-one inside our program. So that's it. That's all. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.